Welcome to the Trivium Talk Podcast. We are on episode 4. This is where we talk about things that are happening inside and outside of the gym. Today's a little bit different. We are coming off of an ice storm, a big snowstorm. Some of you guys, as we speak and record this, are still without power. So we don't really have any quick hits today. Hopefully, by the time this thing comes out, everybody's got power. Everybody's got a nice hot shower, and there's nothing that we're dealing with still.
Yeah, the hope is that this is old news by the time you listen to it. So that'll
Yeah,
be good.
exactly. So, given that, the week we've had a lot of crazy stuff going on. Again, people have been without power. Fortunately, the gyms did keep power for the most part. We kept heat, which we were really worried about because the heater was acting up, things like that. We did unfortunately have a leak in the roof over at the Nippers location, but we had some folks jump right to it, and we were able to, hopefully minimize any of that damage. But yeah, again, hopefully this is old news by the time this comes out next week. So, given that, for our topic today, since it is fresh on our minds, a lot of us have missed some training this week. So, unless you had a gym at the house, a squat rack and a barbell, and you were able to do the workouts at home, it was not conducive to getting out on those roads. And so, we wanted to talk about what do you do or how do you treat it, when you miss a week of training, right? As CrossFitters, we do a lot of training, and we really enjoy our training. So when we miss it, it it definitely starts to get in your head. And how do I come back? And when I come back too quick, am I going to be too sore? All those things. We want to talk about that today.
Sure. I think first and foremost, if you have a gym that you can come back to, we started making adjustments on the programming early on too. One thing that Nate did was just go ahead and try to have a home version of workout,
Right.
a minimal to zero equipment piece that you can just move. And sometimes on days that we are kind of snowed in like that, just moving from a mental health is really good. Just to kind of change up the stir craziness a little bit is really good. And then it can actually allow you to be a little bit more productive throughout. We're kind of attacking it in two different ways. Like we couldn't get to the gym. So what do we do? Finding anything that helps with just movement is going to be just, I think overall just good for you to keep your focus on whatever you need to do and not constantly think about what's going on at the house or how you're going to get out. You've got to take some time for yourself. Movement and exercise is one of the best things for that. However, some of us, myself included, just like, hey, I'm not going to stress about trying to get some workouts in. I've got responsibilities I need to take care of. So I'm just not going to work out today. And then maybe I can go tomorrow. Tomorrow didn't work out either. Okay. So now it's starting to build up. And especially if you still don't have power, working out may be the last thing that's on your mind.
Yeah.
But now that hopefully everything's good, what do we do to get back into it? From a programming standpoint, when you're jumping back into it, you have to give yourself some grace, knowing that it would be unwise to hit the same intensity that you left off at. Mainly because we don't know what we don't know right now. You may be sitting a lot, maybe a little bit tighter. You may have picked up something weird and you didn't realize that it kind of hurt your back or your shoulder.
Yeah, you might have been swinging a shovel for a while and have a lot of pressure on your back.
You may have slipped on ice a couple of times, bringing in groceries. And so all these things kind of add up. So that first day back should be a huge wellness check of just coming in, lightly working through the warm up, and then just building into the workout, being completely okay, not even paying attention to how much weight you're supposed to be lifting, and just lift and be okay with moving. That would be my first advice on your day one back.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, again, we as CrossFitters, we like our CrossFit, we like our daily routines. We want to hit that 5-6 days a week. A lot of our members are in here a good bit of time. And, 3 or 4 days can feel like torture not being in there because it's still part of your routine. And some of that even becomes mental. It's like, man, like I'm going to lose strength. I'm going to lose this. Listen, you're not going to lose your fitness in 4 days.
Sure.
If you've been training for a couple of years and you're not able to get your rowing intervals or your heavy back squat in for a day or two, all is not lost, right? And I think that's an important message because it's a real question, right? And it's like I kind of chuckle at it when I hear it, but I'm immersed in a lot of this and see that, right? For somebody who has made this a priority in their lives and makes sacrifices and manages their time to get in here and do this and has not being able to do that can let some of that creep in.
Sure.
Right?
And your ability to have adaptability comes into play right now too. So in our setup, we are going into kind of a peak week this week, and that kind of got shifted around. And so, hey, now this just became a deload week, and that's okay.
Sure.
And so we can shift things around like that. And so telling yourself that just because you were on this regimented program that you're supposed to hit 94% of yada, 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 yada today. It's like, that's just not going to happen, but that's okay. We can build back up to it. We are fluid in our programming because we can add variance to everything anyway. It's like one of the pillars of CrossFit is that it's constantly varied. Well, a snowstorm will throw a wrench in your consistency. It's okay. We're built for this.
Yeah, and again, quick plug, Trivium Trained, we're doing our own programming here,
Hmm.
right? We're not following an external program. So in what you just outlined, we have the ability to shift a little bit, provide that deload, and then get right back into the ultimate goal because we've mapped those 8 weeks out and we're kind of watching your back on this piece.
Right.
If you're a member here.
Sure.
Right? So
And so some of the other things, if you want to go into in the next shift, is like, okay, I came back in. I think thinking about some athletes in our case, we have some that feel like I have to make up everything that I missed.
mhm.
And I would really shy away from that on maybe the first couple days of just again making sure that you're moving well and getting back into intensity. And then if you want to add in extra volume, you can. But instead of just trying to put it all into one day, space out pieces periodically. Maybe there is something that you're like, man, I really wanted to work on that last week. I didn't get an opportunity to. It's okay. Just add that in where it makes sense and don't think like, well, it's Monday. I'm going to do today's Monday workout and last Monday's workout. And I'm just going to do that until I make up
And
everything.
so why is that, right? Let's talk about the why for that, right? Because I think I have that thought, right?
Hmm.
So I go back and be like, oh man, I really wanted to do that heavy power clean complex.
Sure.
Also, I missed front squatting, and I know I've been working on that a little bit. So
Right.
why don't I come in today and hit and then let's do the 40-minute
Right.
conditioning workout today? Is it a volume thing? Is it a your body's adapting thing? Is it just what's your best advice there as to why you shouldn't come in and just try to do everything all?
Yeah. Anecdotally, I'm maybe projecting my own thoughts on this, but it's like I think of a burnout more than anything. If you come in and you're used to only training an hour a day, but now you're coming in for a week and doing 2 hours a day trying to make up, I think you're going to burn out early and you may not see the success that you're looking for. But I think if you're okay adding, let's just say there's two pieces in class, right? You have a strength and a metcon. You missed 10 pieces in a week,
Yeah.
right? If let's just say that we did two at a time. I would say let's give yourself 2 weeks to make up those 10 pieces. So now we can kind of just add in one more piece. So now my hour is now an hour and 20 instead of 2 hours. But if I do an hour and 20 consistently,
Yeah.
still going to hit everything that I wanted to while also kind of managing the burnout in your CNS system as
So you
well.
could sprinkle them in, right? It's just
Absolutely.
like let's not get them all in one day.
Right.
But there might be some workouts or some pieces that we had in the app and
Hmm.
in the Trivium app, and you're like, man, I really wanted to hit that,
Yeah.
or think that's going to be beneficial to me. Sprinkle them throughout. If you have a question, ask a coach. Hey, what
So
day should I do this?
who should you
To
talk to, Nate?
that
Yeah.
kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
Ask your coaches. Talk to Matt. Talk to me. We can help you map those things out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So it's not, hey, definitely don't do this workout or this
Hmm.
thing. But how you approach it matters, right?
I think another kind of a topic in this, just thinking about different athletes that are coming into the gym. We've had a huge influx of new athletes coming in through that
Mhm.
December, January, that November, December, January. Some of these athletes are just getting started, and it's like, oh shucks, like now to have to start over again because I was
Yeah.
just crushing it, and then this hit, and then what do I do now? And I think one of the kind of the mindset thoughts is like, hey, it's not starting over, you're just starting back up.
Yep.
And the cool thing is you're not brand new anymore. And this kind of goes towards athletes that are getting back into it again. You're not brand new. You know the rules of the game, which is way more than what you knew when you first started. So you understand the terminology, you understand the movements and the intensities and the weights. So you know all that. So you don't have to spend a month trying to figure out, well, I don't know what my one rep max is. We can go ahead and just start to pick up and just again gradually increase intensity as you go instead of learning and trying to increase intensity at the same time. So if you are new and you missed this week, it's okay. You are now just a well seasoned new athlete, and then you can just go back into it.
So we talked about again, coming right back in where we are now and how to approach getting some of those makeup things in. Scaling some of those is another area of
Sure.
opportunity, right? Scaling not in the terms of necessarily like, well, it's pull-ups, I'll just do ring rows
Hmm.
today. But scaling in terms of your loading and volume potentially. your move, making sure that you focus on movement quality over weight. So I brought up the complex, like that clean,
Right.
the floor hang front squat complex was one I kind of had my eye on to do.
Right.
On a fresh day where I'm only doing that and the class workout, I may get up to a heavier weight than I would today
Sure.
if I'm coupling that with a few other pieces. Maybe I trim that back on a weight wise, but I'm getting the exposure to it,
Right.
and I'm managing that load a little bit differently.
So this is where I would say is a pro for following an RPE scale, right? And so I think there's pros and cons to both doing percentages and RPE.
Mhm.
But from a classroom setting, RPE seems to be a little bit more beneficial and a little bit more accepted by mass athletes on there, because when I say it's an RPE 8, we know what an 8 out of 10 should feel, and typically we'll associate it with 80%. But RPE 8 can be different day to day, class to class, time 5 a.m. in the morning to
Sure.
5 p.m. So knowing that, oh, this was supposed to feel like an 8 out of 10 today, that is taking into consideration everything that you've been through the past week as well.
Yeah.
And so maybe coming in fresh, you're going to hit 265 for this complex, and that's your 8 out of 10. But today, being this your first day back, it may be 235 or 225. But that felt like, oh, that was an 8 out of 10. Like,
So
it doesn't mean, well, I guess I'm 40 pounds weaker. It's just where you're at today. And so, again, it just gets that motor kind of turning back on again. And then when we circle back to it, we can start to lift more and more. And your 8 can vary week to week, day to day.
So you mentioned even the RPE, right? And
Mhm.
that's a rate of perceived exertion. How do you feel,
Right.
right? How do you feel coming back into it? And so that's another thing is you're off for 4 or 5 days from your normal routine of that high intensity, some heavy lifting, a long cardio piece, into a stretch, into whatever. That's a routine your body gets used to. And when you get out of it and you're jumping right back in, uh, is the expectation of how we should feel coming back in from like 4 or 5 days off?
I think realistically, you're going to feel stiff. Like, let's
Mhm.
go there first of how you're going to feel going into the gym. You're probably going to feel a little bit loose in a sense of like joints don't feel tight in a good way. A back feels a little loose, a little bit, not like braced because I've probably been sitting a lot more or I've been sleeping funny or tension, whatever. So you're going to feel off going
Yeah.
into the day. And I think that's okay. You got to give yourself, again, a chance to just crank that engine back up and let it kind of stand idle a little bit and just take a little extra time warming up, a little bit extra time just feeling things around. You didn't realize that your shoulder felt funny until you started doing the echo bike. And it's like, okay, pay attention to that. Maybe it feels a little better as you get to move, and that's great. Or maybe it's something that you actually need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I
Beyond,
know
oh,
for me, coming back sometimes from like a vacation
mhm,
or a few days, all like again, we'll just use the snowstorm because that's where we're at. Sometimes I have this expectation of, well, I've gotten a ton of rest, so my body should be tip top shape, ready to roll. And sometimes I feel really strong on the
mhm,
lift, and then I get into the Metcon, and oh boy, it doesn't feel quite as natural. The
yeah,
rhythm's not there. It feels a little foreign. And then by the end of the workout, maybe my pull-ups are a little smoother or things like that,
mhm.
right? So I know for me personally, and I'm sure everybody's a little bit different. Usually, I come back and the strength portion feels better than the conditioning portion. It feels foreign to me. I get a little more tired, a little quicker. I don't know.
I
What are
think
your
that's
thoughts? Do you
interesting.
think that's person
Yeah.
by person
Yeah, I
or?
think so because I think look at the athlete, right? And it's like, okay, well, the thing that you're good at is probably going to be the thing that's going to hold longer,
Mhm.
right? People that are good runners are probably going to be able to hop back in and start running and feel okay if they took a week off. But if they're not good lifters and they took a week off, they're probably not going to be that good at
Yeah,
lifting either. So I
that's
think
good.
that's case to case on that. Because I would say I'm a little bit different. My lifting is gonna feel maybe okay, but I'm not gonna feel super strong. But if I take a week off because maybe I've been overtraining, now that CNS has come down, I feel like I can hammer a workout for the first day, and then like, oh no, I went way too hot
Like,
the second day. So yeah, I think that's a good point. I just think it's different for everyone, and I would be okay leaning into what you're good at. Don't think like, well, because such and such takes this much weight off or they go at this intensity when on their first day back doesn't mean that you have to. You may be similar, you may not be, and that's okay. So as always, Nate, who do you talk to?
talk to your coaches.
Talk to your coach, and then because they know you from a fitness side better than anyone else is going.
Yeah. So I think some of the takeaway there is like how you're feeling is a pretty good indicator, right? And you can
Mhm.
expect to feel off in some areas and on in others, or you may feel off altogether, right?
Right,
But listen to your body and how you feel. Talk to your coaches and where you're at. I think those matter on your first couple sessions back after a period off.
right. Right. I think the last thing to kind of talk about, maybe from just I love thinking about what someone's mentality going into, day one or getting back into the gym. And the first and foremost is if you've missed a week, whether you have an excuse or not, you're not a loser. Like, I think that comes into when you're just sitting in the house all day
Hmm.
and it's like, man, I've lost all my momentum. It's like, you're not, because Nate will tell you, walking through the door is
That's it.
that's it. Once you've done that, you're starting that progression and building those habits back up again. So you're not doing anything wrong by missing days, whether it's because you lost power or the roads were bad or you just weren't feeling it that day. It's okay. You've done good by getting back in there. The second thing from the mentality standpoint is just making sure that you go back with intention again. What is my goal for today? And it's different for everyone, but your goal should be, I want to get a good workout. That again is different for everyone, but knowing, okay, now what does it take to get a good workout for me? Is it hanging out with my lifting buddies for 30 minutes and getting a couple lifts in? Cool, that's it, go away.
Get it.
And then if it's, I want to make sure I break a good sweat, okay, well then what do we need to do to do that? So go in with intention. We should do that every day, but really think about what's your intention going into the first day, and I'll set you up for success the rest of the way.
Yeah. I think you said it right. Walk through the door.
Mhm.
So focus on showing up, right? It's the fitness is going to catch up the more you walk into the door. If you walk in and be like, I got to chase this thing for
Mhm.
the next 2 hours straight, you're likely going to frustrate yourself and things like that, right? So showing up, walking through the door, create some momentum again. You'll start to feel better about it, and before you know it, you'll forget you even had 3 or 4 days off,
Right.
right? And
Exactly.
that's the reality. Is just it's even a week off. It's not that much in the grand scheme because we're looking at this as a long game. This is a year over year process, not a
Right.
I have to get this done in 8 weeks process.
What, 52 weeks in the year?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 week is what from a percentage point?
Math. I don't know.
2%?
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna be okay, if that happens. Yeah, what else?
We've hit on it a little bit, but just one thing I want to just encourage all the members to do is just continue lean into your coaches, right?
Mhm,
Coming back from this, you have questions. We're talking about the things that pop into our heads that we think are important. There's probably 5 or 6 other things that are important to an individual based on where they are in their journey, what they're working on, what their goals are, what their week was like, all those things, right? So, coaches are dealing with the same type of stuff and they have experience in how to bounce back from that. So I just think lean into your coaches, get their perspective on those things.
yep,
Really encourage people to talk to them. That's what we're not there just to run a class. We're not there to organize and just push buttons and things like that. There's a wealth of knowledge in that building that's been gained over years. That's been sort of mind shared from all the people that have come in and out of these doors, and these coaches possess that knowledge. So definitely lean into that piece there. All right, man. I think we're going to wrap it up. I do want to talk about. We were trying to figure out a game, right? We did last week. We did the NFL thing. It was
mhm,
super fun, but a lot of us experienced no power. Some of us shorter than others. I think I had kind of the better end of it. I was, maybe 24 hours tops. But you're sitting there in that cold room, and some of you still were when we recorded this, and you're thinking, "Man, I would not do well in a natural
for
disaster of
sure.
some
Oh, man, we
kind."
play this game all the time, like, how long could you last in a snowstorm? And a lot of people are like, "Hey, I could go 8 days out." And I'm like, "That's awesome, I think I could too." And then Saturday night hits, and I'm like, I'm not built like that. And,
Right.
I was thinking about this, like Nate, born in the Arctic, practically. Mississippi, born and raised, and lived even more southern Mississippi. So, like, this is still new for me. And I think Saturday for us was like, oh, this is fun. Snow's here. And then
Right.
Saturday night hits, and it's like, okay, this is like sleet rain. I'm like, I can see how this is going to be problematic. And you wake up Sunday morning, you're like, yeah, this is problematic. And I thought, like, just a little bit of just a little story corner for me. I wake up Sunday morning. I'm like, okay, power's on. We're still good. Walk downstairs and I hear just a ga 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 ga. Ga. I'm like, that does not sound good. And I'm like, that sounds like our HVAC unit right
Yep.
now. I'm like,
Got covered.
what is going on? And I was like, hey, okay. And then I'm like, all right, let's go out and look. Open up the door. It's just dumping rain still.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, all right. So now we got my hoodie on. I'm looking at it, and I know nothing about HVAC units except that they should work, and that's it. And that's it. And so I'm still just watching it go ga 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 ga. Go back inside ChatGPT. HVAC is going, go, 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 go. What should I do? And they're like, probably got ice build up there. Don't chip the ice. Don't do it. You probably need to shut it down. I messaged our guy, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, what do you think? You should probably shut it down. I'm not shutting down this HVAC unit when it's not even the coldest part. I was like, we're not doing it. I said, well, you know what? Let's go look again. So if sun finally came up, it's like, all right, let's go take a look. And of course, there's just ice buildup. That's where the fan is hitting. I'm like, I'm going to break the ice up. And so I get in there with the screwdriver and I'm just chipping at it. I'm like, I think it's good. Let's turn it on, babe. She turns it on. I'm like, you fixed it. You did so good. So I took a risk. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Obviously, all the professionals say don't break up the ice. I know why. But at that point, I felt like it was worth the risk.
It
I was
was,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
I see where the ice is. I know why they'd say that. I'm going for it.
I'm like, it's clearly just hitting this one section
Yeah.
of it. I'm like, if I break that up, then it's not hitting anything.
I'll pat myself on the back. I covered ours immediately.
So
even a thought.
yeah,
to do
and
that,
so
right?
Nicole sends me a meme thinking it's funny of like, oh, you should cover it. And this guy had like a makeshift. I'm like, that's really smart. How come HVAC
would have worked?
Why don't they do that? Why is that not part of the process when building it to
I
begin
just
with?
had a cardboard box happened to be on the back porch, and I was like, oh, I'll just throw this over it. When it's done, ripped it off.
No one tells me this.
No one
And
tells
I'm
me
like,
that.
and that should just be, I just think that should be part of every model. Like if you are remotely close to snow, why don't they just have a cover for it?
So let me ask you this then. We went through the no power. Then some of us, I went to the store and got some things, and I had, we had some stuff ready, but there were still things that I wished I would have had. What are your things? Give me 4 things that you wish you had prepared for, and you could have, but you just didn't.
Well, mine's always going to be like, I never salt anything. Like, I'm just like, I'm not buying a bag of salt. It'll be fine. And then the next day, you can't get out of your own driveway and it's only like 10 feet. And you're like, this would be way more convenient if I had that. But I've done this 3 years in a row now where it's like, you should probably do that. And I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. And then it's not fine. So, but I mean, honestly, beyond that, I don't really have anything else. We've been really blessed as far as we lost power for a little bit, not even like, wasn't even an inconvenience at the
Okay,
at the
so you didn't
most.
have it for a while.
No, we were fine. The inconvenience, and I say this um, fully knowing that there are still people that may still be out of power right now. So it is joking. I know there's far worse situations. But our internet went out, and you're thinking, well, that's not a big deal. But when you do things like virtual training and online programming, you're like,
Everything's requires
cool.
internet.
Yeah, and you're like,
So
what do
I'll
I
tell
do
you
here?
that
Yeah.
actually. So I started to think about it, and I was like, all right, if I was gonna be without power for like 3 or 4 days, like some people are, I wasn't. I was a day, not a big deal. Big battery backup. I would have gone and got a battery backup, something I could make the phones are charged, all this stuff, because I still had internet service, but my phone's dying, so I would have done battery backup. I would have done a bunch of not scented candles because I was lighting candles to keep like, all that. So now I've got all these weird mixtures of like pumpkin spice and lavender and like all these things. Just some regular cheap candles having around the house.
Yeah, we've gotten so crunchy that like we don't have scented anything because like that stuff is like completely toxic anyway. So you're just like
Right.
snorting.
We've got all the stuff. Like so I wish I would have had a bunch of just regular candles.
Sure.
Battery backup. I was immediately on, as soon as power and internet came back, was on the Starlink website looking at how much
that's
to get a Starlink unit. So I was like, I could never lose internet. Got my battery, got my Starlink, all of that stuff. And then the only thing I screwed up on was I didn't get enough propane for my Blackstone grill. If I'd have had the propane on the grill, I cooked the entire, and I cooked a great meal, and the propane ran out.
Yeah, I think Blackstone has really come around this year. That's everyone that I've talked to is like, oh man, put the propane in, grilled up everything. I'm like, that's cool. I think the cool things that I saw on Instagram or just like friends in the neighborhood of just like hooking up their truck to the house. And it's like, oh, my truck is generating. I'm like, I don't even know how that works. I don't understand how that works. I even talked to like, well, no, dude, it's just like an extension cord. I'm like, oh, it doesn't like plug into the house because that's where my mind was.
Right.
Because I'm thinking of a generator.
Where's my house plug?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how does he do that? That's really amazing that they incorporated that into the house. And it's like, no, Matt, it's an extension cord and a power strip. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool too. That's good.
I thought it would be funny in the middle of this to just film like a Bear Grylls type thing, but just have it be the most bougie.
Yeah.
Like, well, I can't do, and then have the most super bougie things out here trying to survive.
Yeah. And
in
that's,
reality, you know, it's not that big of a deal.
I would love to hear from anyone that has a generator if it is quote unquote worth it, because I'm in my head like, how many times do you actually use it? And then when you do use it, is it actually working because you haven't run it in 3 years? And then so like, I don't know, if you have good generator recommendations, send them my way, because I'm an idiot. So I'll take anything that I can. Um,
I was looking for the house plug.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, I don't even know. So anyway, so I'll take any advice from that, and I'll be very vulnerable in that situation. Not even vulnerable. I'll be transparent in this, that I have no idea when it comes to that side of it. I will say what's impressive, we've got chickens at the house. All of them survived. None of them had any issues. You don't need to add heat. They just chill in their coop for a while. And they come back out when they're ready.
It
Just like,
turns out they've been living in weather
yeah, it's,
for thousands of years.
it stinks to be a bird right now. And I'm like, man, they're living pretty good
Yeah.
right now. They just,
They don't even know.
we bring the food to them,
Yeah.
it's like, it's good. So,
It's great.
so if you're thinking about chickens, they can make it through anything. So.
Well, we're you guys will be listening to this a week after all this stuff is passed. Everybody have power, all of those things. But it felt pertinent to talk about. Drop some comments in if you've got some lists of things that maybe you would have gotten. Matt's looking for generator recommendations.
Tim would recommend this for Matt because he does not know how to survive in a snowstorm.
Yeah, what does Matt need to get in order to power his house?
Yeah.
To just because that's how it works. But yeah, listen, snowstorms, travel, life, all these things happen. You're gonna miss workouts. The win in all of this is not focusing on never missing a workout. The win is going to be always coming back, walking through the door, and creating that momentum again when it does happen. All right. So we'll see you guys in the gym, and thanks for listening.
Trivium Talk Podcast. Big facts. Bad jokes, all gas. Whoa. Turn it up, talk it out, let it clash. Trivium Talk Podcast.